parents murdering their own 16-year-old daughter. And unbeknownst to them, their crime recorded from beginning to end.
These two donkeys murdered their daughter. This is the story of Palestina Isa. She was born on December the 3rd, 1972. She was the youngest daughter born to Zein and Marissa Isa. When Tina was 16, she lived with her parents at 759 Delore in the city of St. Louis. The Isa family joined diverse cultural and religious backgrounds. Zein, the father, was a Palestinian and of the Islamic faith. Marissa was Brazilian and she was a Catholic. Out of this unique home, Tina acquired the ability to speak fluently 4 different languages, which included Arabic, Portuguese, Spanish, and English, which to me is quite impressive because I can only speak 1.3 languages. And don't ask me what that 0.3 is. Rigid cultural traditions, however, soon became a point of tension between Tina and her parents. In 1989, Tina was a senior at Roosevelt High School. She had excelled as a student and played on the school's soccer and tennis teams. As Tina's school activities expanded and her social life flourished, her parents became concerned that she would escape their control. And that is the central theme in today's crime, control. I'll expand on that as we go. The parents began to monitor and limit Tina's activities. They forbade Tina from attending her Junior American Studies class field trip to Washington, D.C. They also forbade her junior prom and a free college preparatory program at the University of Missouri, Columbia. Much of the conflict between Tina and her parents centered around Tina's relationship with Cliff Walker, a young black man. Both Zein and Marissa strenuously objected to Tina's relationship with Mr. Walker because of his color. In spite of her parents' objections, however, Tina continued to see Mr. Walker. As a result of all the disagreements between Tina and her parents, on October the 13th, 1989, Marissa visited high school with the intention of withdrawing Tina from school. There was a lot of friction at home. You have had friction with your parents, so have I, but they never took me out of school. What must have been so bad that they wanted to take her out of school? Again, let me keep going. In a conversation with Tina's guidance counselor, Pamela Fournier, Marissa explained that Tina was being withdrawn for not obeying family rules and to prevent Tina's further association with Mr. Walker. Ms. Fournier discussed with Marissa the value of an education and Tina's potential for a college scholarship. Marissa remained hostile and belligerent. She told Ms. Fournier that neither she nor her husband wanted Tina going out with a black boy. Marissa further described Tina as a tramp and a whore who had gone against her family. At the end of October 1989, Tina, unbeknownst to her parents, found employment at a Wendy's restaurant. By the way, the chicken sandwich at Wendy's with the pretzel bun? Class. Now, Tina told her parents of her employment by taping a note to the television on her first day of work. How scared was she of her parents to tell them by note? What the hell was going on? The note informed her parents that she would return at 11:30 p.m. Now, at some point prior to November the 5th, 1989, Zein, the father, came under suspicion for espionage activities against the United States. With federal court approval, FBI agents placed surveillance microphones in the home and began taping conversations there. Now, when Tina returned home at around midnight the evening of November the 5th, her mother, Marissa, said, "Where have you been, bitch?" Tina explained that she had been working at Wendy's. Both Zein and Marissa found Tina's answer unsatisfactory and an argument erupted. Zein confronted Tina regarding her relationship with Mr. Walker. Zein told his daughter that her behavior was shameful and purely fornication. And that right there is the reason for this crime. Zein was a Muslim. As Muslims, we're not allowed to date. You either get married or you don't. But there's no dating outside of marriage. And in Muslim families, the honor of the family is at the hands of the mothers and the daughters. So if a word got out to the street that Tina is dating a man, forget whether he was black or white or whatever, the fact that she was dating a man, Zein would have felt ashamed because he thought people would look down on him. That's why he's angry. He's not angry out of love for his daughter. He's not angry out of obedience to his faith. He's angry because he cares what other people think. Moron. During this conversation, Marissa attacked Tina on her motivation for working. Marissa charged, "This life of yours is unacceptable. Do you understand? This life is unacceptable." And now I'm going to read you the transcript of their argument which led to her death. And the only way the police know this transcript, because remember, the FBI had bugged their house. Her father said, "Listen to what I say to you. Until you reach 17, I am prepared to provide for you. Why? You don't do anything but eat, drink, and sleep. I swear, the money is not enough, and you have stolen from me. Why do you play this game now?" Marissa went on to say, "Do you want to sleep here? If you want to sleep here, then you don't need any money," referring to you don't need a job. To which Tina replied, "Come on, throw me out." To which Marissa said, "Do you want to drink water from here?" Her father asked her, "What about it? What do you want, Tina?" Tina said, "I say nothing." Her father then said, "Here, listen, my dear daughter. Do you know that this is the last day? Tonight, you are going to die. Do you know that you are going to die tonight?" Now, what was heard next was a loud scream and her father saying, "Die, my daughter, die," whilst at the same time, Tina is shouting, "Help, help, help." So, from the surveillance tape, the question remained, oh my god, what happened? Well, an autopsy was performed on Tina's body, and it revealed 6 puncture wounds on her left breast and several small prick wounds on her chest and neck. The tight cluster of these wounds indicated that Tina had been stabbed. In her statement to police immediately following the murder, a blood-stained Marissa acknowledged having grabbed her daughter from behind during a struggle. Tina also suffered a 2-inch bruise on top of her head and deep scratches on her neck. Hairs found in Tina's hand were consistent with hair found on the arms of Marissa. Numerous cuts on Tina's hands were consistent with injuries sustained in an effort to fend off a knife attack. You see, Tina died from a knife wound through her breastbone and into her heart, and a second fatal stab wound that entered her left lung. When the murder was done, Marissa called for police and ambulance assistance. During this call, the following conversation took place. Marissa said, "Take your shirt off," to which Zein said, "What?" Marissa said, "Take this shirt off." Zein answered, "Why? No, she was the one who wanted to kill her father. I got a knife and she took it away from me. You see, kill her father." In the following minutes, the father and Marissa made calls to several relatives, telling each that Tina had attacked them with a knife and had been killed in the exchange. When the police arrived at the apartment, Tina's body lay prone on the living room floor with 2 knives lying near her head. Neither Zein nor Marissa were visibly shaken or upset by the event. Both Zein and Marissa made statements to the police recounting a story of how their daughter attacked them in an attempt to obtain $5,000. Of course, that was all bullshit. What they didn't know is that this whole conversation was taped. Now, in the trial, the 7-minute tape of the girl's death was central to the trial. Federal agents recorded the killing with electronic bugging devices hidden in the family's home. Also recorded and introduced as evidence in the trial were telephone conversations in which Mr. Isa discussed with his other daughters the rebellious behavior of his youngest daughter. Zein testified in Arabic and through a translator that he'd stabbed his daughter when she demanded $5,000 and came at him with a kitchen knife. He explained that when he said to her, "You're gonna die tonight," she already had the knife in her hand, to which I then directed the knife toward her to stab her until she fell down. Some jurors had wept upon hearing the tape of the girl struggling for her life with screams and gasping and moaning. On the tape, Zein shouted in Arabic, "Die quickly, die my daughter, die." And in case you're wondering, well, why were the FBI tapping these people? Well, Zein was a member of the Abu Nidal organization, which at the time he murdered his daughter was plotting to bomb the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. This was a crucial factor in his trial, As this is what the FBI explained, he had connections to suspected terrorist activities. This was especially important in confirming that Marissa was an active participant in the murder and that Zein's claim of self defense against Tina was false. And on December the 20th, 1991, both Zein and Marissa Isa were convicted of first degree murder and sentenced to death. In 93, Zein was indicted by the FBI in connection with his terrorist activities, but the charges were dropped as he was on death row. He died of diabetes complications in 1997, and for Marissa's death sentence, it was commuted to life imprisonment without parole. And now you know why at the beginning I called them two donkeys. Now, I'm a Muslim myself, I do believe in my faith, and Zayn's annoyance at his daughter I can understand because I've seen it before in other Muslim fathers, right? Like they don't want their daughter dating other men outside of wedlock because it goes against the religion, whatever. Agree or disagree, I'm just telling you how it is, right? But the answer to this is not death. It's actually forbidden. It's haram, as they say. So why did he do it? Why? Because as I said, the honor is with the daughter, and he cared far more about public perception than the sanctity of his daughter. Let me tell you this, trust me, honor killings, you've all heard of honor killings, and you wonder, why the fuck are these brain dead people doing it? They're not doing it out of religious values. They're not doing it out of cultural stigmas. They are doing it purely based on vanity so that they are not shamed in society. Donkeys are us. Don't you agree?